Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game. So checking out a fun and exciting episode for you guys this evening because we're not taking a look at one, we're taking a look at two new MiSTer FPGA builds out there, the Ironclad DX as well as the Ironclad Lite from D3F Mod. This is basically the everything and the kitchen sink Swiss Army knife of MiSTer FPGA builds. It has so many features, I swear if you asked it nicely it would probably do your taxes for you. And we're going to go over all of the hardware today. I'm going to show you the differences between the DX and the Lite, and I'm going to let you guys decide down below which one you want to see me build in another video, so definitely pay attention and leave a comment to which one you'd like to see. But D3F Mod sent these in so I could put them in front of my camera and talk about them because there's so many different ways to build a MiSTer FPGA out there. There's a traditional triple stack, there's different console designs, and this is going to be an ITX form factor, basically a mini PC for your MiSTer FPGA. We're going to be taking a look first at the DX and we'll go over the differences between the DX and the Lite moving forward. But going through the overall feature set of this board, kind of poking through it and playing around in the background testing it, I can say that it literally leaves absolutely nothing behind whatsoever as far as features are concerned. This thing has so many strange functions in it that maybe you would never use, but maybe somebody out there would, like tape loading for the cores that will allow for it. And I absolutely love the PCB and the fact that it is that ITX form factor, which means that you're going to be able to use any ITX case that has enough height on it, I believe 60 millimeters, and that's going to allow you to put this into an ITX case, put it next to your television, next to your monitor, and have a very clean, intelligent design that routes all of the ports exactly where you would need them. So basically everything is either coming out of the front or the back versus a triple stack where you can have things around all four sides. And this board is absolutely densely populated, even has an ATX 24-pin power supply. If you want to load the internals up here with so many different things, you might want to use that different power supply just to give yourself a little bit more overhead, like large hard drives. And around the back, it is absolutely loaded up with a ton of I/O, and maybe my favorite feature on the board, these two ports right here will charge your controllers when you're not actually using your MiSTer FPGA, because I know a dead controller drives us all nuts. But if you take a look at the rest of the I/O, it is all encompassing. You have your RGB VGA port there, you have your Saturn mini DIN connect, which is going to do the 24-bit color out for the cores that support it. You're going to have your audio Toslink here, you're going to have a stack with Ethernet as well as more USB ports. You're going to have your snack port, which is a USB shaped port but not USB protocol, so remember that. You're even going to get snack adapters, dual modes there. You're going to get the tape loading in, and of course you're going to get a power supply in as well. If we take a look, it also comes with a perfectly nice I/O shield explaining absolutely every single function you have here. Obviously the HDMI is going to come from the MiSTer board in and of itself, whether it's a Triassic DE10 Nano, a MiSTer Pi, or a QM Tech clone, because it is compatible with all three of the boards out there, and that is a very nice touch. And to do a close-up, you've got your charging port, you've got your standard video multi-out, you've got that Saturn mini DIN cable type adjustment, as well as the RGB or S-video output, the line out with the mini Toslink, that user I/O port for snack, and then that tape in and output. That is absolutely hilarious. I've never used it before, but I know some people out there love the computer cores and they want to be able to load in with tape. And the best part is I throw it at the entire assembly. It can also come with an IR remote if you so choose, allowing you basically to sit on your couch and change basically any setting you could possibly want. The other nice thing about the DX model is that all of the MT32 Pi implementation is built into the board, so you can just plug in your preset up 02W Raspberry Pi and you won't need to use any of these adapter boards that you would use with the Lite. But the Lite is still a great option with all of these boards. We'll get to that a little bit later in the video, so you guys can decide which one it is you want to see built on camera, because they basically functionally do the same thing. The DX just does a lot more of the same thing, so I'm not going to build them twice. Additionally, you get all of the different buttons you would need, case power buttons, and you're going to be able to use the case power button pressing it a different amount of times or a different length to be able to control reset, menu, user, and power all from one button. So you're not going to have a case that's going to be filled up with buttons on the front. Whichever case you pick, it's going to be intelligent to your touch. And you'll see here we also have fan headers that are programmable as well, so you're going to be able to keep all of the temperatures in check when you have this inside of an ITX case, which is a very nice touch. You definitely want to keep those temperatures under control. You also have the CR2032 battery here for any of the the cores that depend on a real-time clock. Now, I don't usually use cores that have that, but it is nice functionality, especially on the PC side of things. And you have all of these different intelligent fan modes as well. Pretty much what I'm trying to get at is the DX is considered every single possible thing a MiSTer FPGA could do, both hardware-wise as well as how to control it within a case and how to make sure the heat management is under control, and that is always nice. And as far as actually plugging the board in, it is quite easy. You have 4 standoffs plugged in, so you can dial in whatever board you want there, the DE10 Nano, the Cyclone 5 from QM Tech, or the MiSTer Pi. You even have a temperature sensor right in the middle, those 2 blue cables right there that'll check out all of your temperatures and make sure everything is good to go. Now, depending on what board you're going to install, there can be other adapter boards involved so that everything fits well. So if you are going to pick one of these up, just make sure you know which model you're going to build with, whether it's the Jurassic board, the MiSTer Pi, or the QM Tech, and it even comes with a snack adapter as well, so you're going to be able to play around with everything as far as snack is concerned, because a lot of you love that. Additionally, there is just a bag of accessories, so you can plug in your Ethernet, so you can plug in your USB, so you do all of the cable management inside, so when you close the lid, you are good to go. And just taking a look at the overall PCB here, you got that temp probe, your fan headers, an internal USB port, that ATX power connector if you want to go that route, your battery for the real-time clock, front panel headers, USB headers, that HD audio header, the MT32 Pi connector that's built in, and then a switch for your snack connectors, which you'll install on the board, and I will do that in the next video. But if that's maybe way too many features for you, because I understand that everyone wants everything, you also have the Ironclad Lite, which is going to remove some of the features, but still be an excellent choice, and it's still going to be compatible with the Jurassic board, the QM Tech, and the MiSTer Pi. So depending on what you want to use for your build or what you have hanging around, you're going to be good to go. And it does have a different I/O and a different feature set, and in just a moment I will go over the differences and what the Ironclad Lite loses. But do know that you do have your choices out there if you want to build an ITX build from D3F Mod, and I do like the fact that it comes in different tiers and you can kind of pick and choose what parts you need for your build, so it's not like you have to buy everything and not use it. You do get the ability to kind of pick and choose how much you want, how many features you want, how many accessories you might want within the kit, so that when you build it, you get to build your own bespoke custom MiSTer FPGA on an ITX board versus having every single thing included in the box, which I do think is nice. Now, the differences between the DX and the Lite is you're going to lose 24-bit color analog video out, you're going to lose that built-in audio DAC and the real-time clock. You're also going to lose one USB port, not really that big of a deal, and a headphone jack on the board. Tape audio input for core supporting and loading games will be missing, as well as that Sega Saturn console type AV output, and a couple other things you can read on screen here. But honestly, you're still getting RGB out, you're still basically getting everything you need, maybe minus that 24-bit color, but again, not that many cores support it. And this is going to require an MT32 board, just depending on what you're using, whether it's one of the Jurassic boards or otherwise. There are different boards that you can use here to put in that Pi, but again, I understand not everyone is using MIDI on their MiSTer FPGA, so the Lite is nice. If you have no plans to use MIDI for the DOS core or for something like the Sharp X68000 core, you don't need to build these in. But again, there's different internal hats for different boards depending on what you're using, and that is nice as well. D3F Mod is basically considered every single configuration you could possibly build a MiSTer FPGA out of. It included the option to get parts for every single board as far as the FPGA board is concerned, and every single variant thereof, and that means no matter what you want to build, how you want to build it, and how complex you want to build it, there's going to be something available that's going to allow you to get exactly the feature set that you want, whether you go with the Ironclad DX or whether you go with the Ironclad Lite. But it is really fun because honestly, having it in a nice elegant case with all of this feature set, something you can just close up and make it look like a mini PC next to your television, it's going to look great in a console for your TV, and also it's going to be relatively clean so that you're not going to get any complaints about having a gigantic wiring mess next to your television. Trust me, it is something I hear every once in a while when I actually just put everything out all at once. And again, I can't stress enough, it's great that this is compatible with all of the different MiSTer FPGA boards out there. If you want want to use a MiSTer Pi, you can go ahead and do that, and it's definitely probably how I'll build my setup, or maybe I'll do an original Triassic. Let me know whichever board I build, which board you'd like to see built inside of it, a MiSTer Pi, a QM Tech, or an original Triassic DE10 Nano, because I've got parts for all of them. And the best part is Retro Remake, when they go back in stock, will just sell you the center board here, the actual quote-unquote MiSTer FPGA of it all, the Altera Cyclone 5 FPGA chip with the ARM cores on board, so you can just pick that up if you want to marry it to an Ironclad DX or an Ironclad Lite, and it's going to have absolutely everything you need to have a MiSTer FPGA inside of that case. And I always like that the developers actually factor in all of the different boards on the market, MiSTer Pi being my favorite clone right now. You can also use the QM Tech board. I do not recommend using the one without the soldered on RAM, just because it will work, but it is a little bit more complex, and you're kind of trying to just do a build on hard mode. When I reviewed the QM Tech, I said the soldered on 128 megabytes of RAM model was something that you definitely could use, but I kind of recommended users away from actually doing a build with the triple GPIO header on top that had the RAM seated in a way that no other MiSTer FPGA board has ever seen it done. But if you do want to pick up a QM Tech and do a build like this, just grab the one with the RAM installed on the bottom. Now, as far as the Ironclad DX is concerned, there's a couple other really nice features just to go over. You're going to be able to use your original power adapter so long as you don't put too much hardware in it. And of course, I know a lot of people are going to ask, dual RAM is supported as well, so this isn't just a single RAM build. You have that DB9 connector that's going to do SNAC 8 for the DB9 fork cores, as well as some other bits as well, so you have basically full control on the SNAC side of things. You have that intelligent power button where you're going to be able to use reset, on-screen display, and user, depending on how you actually press the button, so one button is going to do absolutely everything. And my favorite feature that really isn't a feature but is there to protect you, it's got everything covered as far as over voltages are concerned, short circuits, things such as that. If there is a dead short, it's going to turn off the power to that function or port, and if you try to overvolt this thing, it's going to ignore the power supply, and it's going to protect your board in the center. Now, I should say it is foolproof, but honestly, every once in a while somebody out there always surprises me. Maybe they'll plug your power adapter into a cup of water and then into the board. Nothing is 100% user proof. I've just learned that as I've done this channel, but honestly, you guys have been asking about new MiSTer builds, and D3F Mod sent these over, the DX as well as the Lite as far as the Ironclad are concerned. So tell me down below, which one do you want to see built, the Lite one or the DX one? I have a very strong feeling I know which one the vote's going to go towards, but whatever you guys want to see, I will do a build video for you. I will leave a link in the description below if you want to pick one of these up, because I can't recommend them enough. Totally a 10 out of 10. But I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.